Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrixter, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go Battle League battles. These battles are played in the Ultra League because that's all there is right now. It's not my favorite league, everybody knows that, but yeah, it's all we have, so let's make the best of it and win a bunch of games. I'm running a team that is accessible. I don't spend a lot on Ultra League because, it's Ultra League. What else? What are you going to do with those Pokemon after you're done with them? At least in Masters, you can use them for raids, and, I guess that's about it. Maybe stuff the fat ones in gyms. I don't know. But, yeah. So I'm running a team that requires 0 XL candy. It's all Pokemon that are currently available or have been available recently. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Let's hop into these games. My first battle is against Hallelujah Boys. I'm opening Gallade. I have Venusaur and Shadow Snorlax in the back. This is a team that I have some familiarity with. I ran it for a time in Season 3 and Season 4. And I think it's very appropriate for right now, because right now, well, these battles are actually from Tuesday, but right now, as was 2 days ago, there are so many Shadow Machamps out there. Most of them are in the lead. I don't know why. I don't know which content creator is responsible for that, although I do know that today, Thursday, FP Sticks released a video featuring Shadow Machamp in the lead, and he talked it up a lot. So if there weren't enough Shadow Machamps for this team to be successful 2 days ago, there damn well will be now. But there were plenty 2 days ago. So this opponent had opened Abomasnow, and one of the reasons that I really like opening Gallade, aside from being a really strong response to the tons of Shadow Machamps out there, is that Gallade has in the past been talked up as a great safe swap. And whenever I see a Pokemon that's been talked up as a great safe swap, the arguments that are made for it are, well, it has a lot of play against a lot of things. It doesn't really get super shut down by anything. And I think that just sounds like a great list of ingredients for a lead. So, leading Gallade have a lot of varieties in the typings that do damage. You're hitting with Confusion, Leaf Blade, and Close Combat. I don't think there's anything that resists all three of those things. So you kind of always have a way to do decent damage, at least neutral, if not super effective for something else. So this opponent had opened Shadow Machamp and instantly swapped out into Snorlax. And I was really slow to swapping in Snorlax because the confusion damage actually will bring that Snorlax down into superpower plus body slam range, whereas with my Snorlax coming in at full health and not taking those confusions, I'm able to straight throw this superpower first and then follow it up with a body slam, and that would take it out. And I'm even able to survive a superpower even though I'm Shadow, and still can get off this body slam and it will KO just fine. Well, I mean, I guess if they shield it, that's fine, but they really can't lick me down. They switched back into Shadow Machamp, and now Shadow Machamp is locked in against Gallade, who can just Confusion the whole way down, but since I already had a bunch of energy, I opted to just throw this Leaf Blade. And it wasn't enough to KO, but that's fine. Gallade resists all of Shadow Machamp's moves. I guess unless they're running Payback, but nobody's doing that. That I know of. So Snorlax came back in. I'm just going to shield this Body Slam on Venusaur. And, Vine Whip the rest of the way down, and I'll have plenty of energy. Between Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb, excuse me, there are very few Pokemon that resist both. I think the only one that I'm aware of off the top of my head is if someone brought Bronzong into the ring, which is super uncommon because it's unbelievably expensive and not particularly good against the general meta. But okay, so let me just commentate these games. Next game up against That's deck. Gallade into Ampharos. This is a mostly neutral matchup. If you can sneak in an extra confusion, obviously that's fantastic, but if you let them sneak in a Volt Switch, that's quite bad. I'll usually throw my first Leaf Blade at 5 and I'll shield. Because, it could be a Dragon Pulse or something. But if it's a Thunder Punch, then I know I can survive the second one. Wouldn't be able to survive both, so I would have to shield one anyway. And if you're going to have to shield one anyway, it might as well be the first one. So survive the second Thunder Punch just fine, and he switches in his own Gallade, so as not to be farmed down, which is totally sensible. They got in a free Confusion, which means I'm going to be able to do 1 Confusion less of damage, but that's alright. I'm just going to send Shadowlax in. He's at 4 Confusion, so this could totally be a close combat, so I will shield this. It's a Leaf Blade. That's okay. He's not going to get to a second move no matter what. If anything, not getting the defense drop just provided a little bit more farm, which is appreciated for Shadow Snorlax. And they have a Sirfetch'd in the back, which is pretty off meta. Sirfetch'd used to be more common in days past, but I feel like I haven't seen one of those this season until this one. So I threw both Body Slams, and my opponent shielded both of them, and now I'm just going to bring Venusaur out. If they have Brave Bird, I'm super dead, but I would have been dead even if I had let myself stay in and be farmed. So I'm just going to throw Venusaur out so that he's not able to get to 3 Night Slashes, if that's what he was going to end up throwing. The normal moveset is Night Slash, Leaf Blade. And I throw this Frenzy Plant as soon as I have it. Ampharos comes back out, and I could Vine Whip it the whole way down, but my opponent... alright, my opponent lets me Vine Whip him all the way down. So GG. But they were energy drained, so they weren't going to be able to get off. A Thunder Punch would be easily survived by Venusaur. It only does like 25-ish% damage. So here we go. My opponent fast swaps into Snorlax, and I swap into my own Snorlax faster. This one is Shadow, so doing the extra confusions won't really change the outcomes very much. And I really don't want to take all that lick damage because Shadow Snorlax licks very hard. So I no shield the first move because they tend to almost always be the Body Slam. Just going to build up to double superpower, and now I'm actually baiting with my own Body Slam, which is unusual. I normally just go straight superpower because they never shield the first move. Yeah, they never shield it. I never shield it. We both know what we're doing. Neither of us is going to throw the superpower, though. And yeah, he comes back out with his Sirfetch'd. So was able to get 1 Body Slam off, couldn't get the second. Now I'm going to send Gallade in. I was really hoping I would sneak in a Confusion because those chunk Sirfetch'd so hard. And yeah, my opponent brings in a Swampert, which is totally great for me. So I can survive this move, whatever it is, but the big move tends to be the first one, so I'm going to shield the first one. That's the Sludge Wave. And now I'm just going to Vine Whip the rest of the way down. I didn't Vine Whip the rest of the way down, and I threw a Frenzy Plant, which enabled my opponent to get in 1 extra Mud Shot, which enabled him to get to his second move. Yeah, when a Swampert is swapped in, you have to be very fast with the swap with Venusaur. And if you throw your move and let them sneak in a move, it's going to enable them to get to their second Sludge Wave or Earthquake, if that's what they're running. So the Sirfetch'd has energy enough to throw, but they're kind of into a position where they kind of wanted to counter me all the way down because my Gallade was still back there, and if they were energy drained, 1 Confusion would be all it would take. But very close game. GG to my opponent. Next up against Silverwolf, Gallade into Swampert. So Gallade is kind of a pseudo-grass, and I can definitely survive first Hydro Pump. Even if it was Shadow, Gallade survives the first Hydro Pump, so there's no reason to throw first. Survive that, no problem, and they switch in Galvantula, and I'm just going to throw the Close Combat and then duck out. Close Combat does a lot more damage. The Leaf Blade and Close Combat are both single resisted, but Close Combat is a more efficient move and has Stab. So now I'm going to switch Snorlax in and just kind of lick the whole way down. My opponent was very close to getting off another lunge, but I was able to lick them down in time. And Swampert comes back out, so I am just going to unload this energy. Hopefully get a shield. That would honestly be better. I mean, they're getting pretty low, so wow, I'm surprised they didn't shield there. But then again, I mean, I had been lunged, so my attack has been dropped. Normally 2 body slams would be enough for a Shadow Swampert. And then I sent Venusaur out because I know he has some extra energy, and I was honestly anticipating him to insta-throw Hydro Cannon, but he was forced to throw it anyway because he wasn't going to reach the other move. And there's a Talonflame in the back, which... pretty bad for me. I was trying to get all the way to my close combat, which actually does about, like, 45% damage to a Talonflame. Wasn't able to get there, and that is definitely going to cost me the game. I'm staying in because... yeah, I don't know why I'm staying in. Honestly, I should really just leave at this point. Like, he's going to reach his 3rd Flame Charge well before I'm able to reach a 3rd Frenzy Plant. Like, this is just bad alignment for me. And yeah, I leave there right before my Venusaur has to get hit in the face with Flame Charge. But all right, you know, it's a 4-5 set. That went over pretty solidly, all things considered. I get a shield on, and for whatever reason, it is really hard to catch. I mean, that's like a green circle. That should totally have caught. I don't know what's going on here. All right, we'll throw the regular Pokeball. That's the play. And take that and move up to 2571. Oh yeah, these games are being played in the 25s to 26 ELO range. I guess you realize that now, but I probably should have said something about that earlier. Okay, Venusaur, this is a good lead. If I can sneak in an extra confusion, then they won't be able to reach a second move, and yeah, but because they are, I think I'm going to end up having to throw because they'll reach their next, yeah. They reach their Frenzy Plant before I'm able to take them out. Shadow Gallade actually can farm Venusaur all the way down and not have to worry about it, but that's okay. I threw the Leaf Blade because this Gallade wins CMP, and now I'm just going to shield this, and I end with a ton of energy, but yeah, my end shield. I win with a shield deficit, switch advantage, and enough energy to most likely get the shield back. Unfortunately, my opponent brings out Talonflame, and I am not able to get that shield back, but that's all right. Send Shadowlax out. I get Brave Birded, and my opponent swaps out right away to Kingdra. So, yeah. Throwing the superpower because that does slightly more damage, and I'm only going to get off one move here anyway, clearly. Able to land that, and now I guess I can send Venusaur out to yeah, to build up to these Frenzy Plants and try to get to this last. My opponent reaches this move right before I'm able to reach my Frenzy. So if this is Outrage, which it is, that's pretty bad for me because I'm running awfully low on health already. I waited as long as I could because an Incinerate will take me out regardless, and I wanted to be close enough to maybe reach the Frenzy, but yeah, not quite able to get there. I come back out and start confusioning, and I'm looking at this. I probably should have insta-swapped because the confusion damage would honestly have been all I would need. So a little bit of a misplay on my part, and that definitely cost me that game. GG to my opponent, though. They played that really well. Okay. Talonflame in the lead. Talonflame is not really good for this team, but I have been seeing fewer and fewer of them as the days have worn on. I get to my close combat when they get to their first Flame Charge. And also, it's always Flame Charge, by the way. They are never throwing the Brave Bird, just so we're clear. But I have to shield that anyway. And yeah, then I throw the close combat and duck out. I bring Snorlax in. It's kind of uncommon for there to be a Machamp in the back behind a Talonflame, so I feel more or less safe throwing Shadowlax out as the safe swap in this scenario. And yeah, he's met with a Venusaur, so I'm just going to Body Slam this thing the whole way down. I can survive a Frenzy Plant from this range, but I'm going to shield anyway because Frenzy does a lot of damage, and if Venusaur was the best response to Snorlax, then I don't have to worry about there being a fighter in the back that will counter me down. So makes sense to maintain Snorlax. So Talonflame comes back out, and if I can reach a Body Slam, then that will go down. They Brave Bird me, and then there's a Swampert in the back. So fantastic for me. I'm definitely glad that I kept Snorlax alive and healthy so that I could, force that energy out of Talonflame because Venusaur's not going to need a shield to take out the Swampert. And I threw my Frenzy as soon as I had it to force the shield out of them if they wanted to do the damage. So now I'm low enough that they're going to be able to Hydro Cannon me down. And I throw 1-2 Confusions before throwing this Leaf Blade because that Swampert was energy dry, so I could afford to do that. And I wanted to be closer to a close combat because I forgot how low Talonflame was. I get to the Leaf Blade and throw that right away, and it's just barely enough to take Talonflame out, so I don't have to worry about them reaching a move. The great thing about Confusion is that it's a little bit faster than Incinerate. I guess that's more... The thing that's rough about Incinerate is that it takes so long I can throw a Confusion and then throw a move before it's finished. So, okay. Shadow Snorlax in the lead. That's really bad for Gallade. One of the few, like, pretty hard counters to it. I mean, you can still win if they no-shield the close combat, but they tend to shield. Except when you throw the Leaf Blade, then they totally don't. That's how that works. But yeah, setting out my Snorlax, I'm not going to bait with Body Slam, just going to throw the Superpower. And even though I threw that first, I'm still able to survive a Superpower. And able to throw this Body Slam and take that Snorlax out. So, managed to win switch advantage. Hopefully, there's something in the back that that my team can handle, and it's a Kingdra, so this is all right. So, gonna send Venusaur out, waiting out the switch clock because my opponent had never switched and I did. Able to reach this first Frenzy. I'm gonna throw that right away. Just in case they Octazooka me and lower my attack. So I'm definitely feeling like this is an outrage, so I'm gonna shield it. And now my opponent switches into Slowbro, which is very off meta. It's very surprising. It takes 5 Confusions to reach a Psychic, so after I had taken 2 with Venusaur, I switched into Gallade and was able to get this Leaf Blade off just as they were reaching their Psychic. This Psychic is hitting for neutral, but still does a lot. Kind of would have preferred it to do more because now he throws out those 2 Confusions and takes me out. I get to this Frenzy Plant, I throw it in the middle of his Confusion animation so that it doesn't, so that the Confusion doesn't register. And then Kingdra comes back out and just Dragon Breaths me the whole way down and takes me out. GG to Vergiverg though. All right, next up against Danny. Gallade into Charizard. Charizard is kind of rough for Venusaur, so I can't switch out into Snorlax and risk Charizard going in somewhere else, but the Confusions chunk a lot. That's 5 Fire Spin, Summon a Shield, and my opponent baits with Dragon Claw, and I am going to throw this close combat right before they reach their Blast Burn. Oftentimes, Charizards will not shield because they figure they're already pretty low and there's a decent chance I'll throw the Leaf Blade, so I'm not going to let that happen. And then Kingdra comes out, so I'm just going to throw this Leaf Blade. It hits for neutral. Would have made total sense to build up to the close combat and throw that instead. And then I switch Shadowlax in, and unfortunately my opponent has a Shadow Machamp in the back. Oh, sorry, a regular Machamp, a non-Shadow Machamp. He throws this Cross Chop right before I reach my my Body Slam, and that's all right. I'm just going to throw Gallade back out and try to Confusion the whole way down. Oh, no, apparently I'm not. I'm just going to absorb this energy and send Venusaur out and try to Vine Whip the whole way down and hope that whatever's in the back can be taken out with a pair of Frenzy Plants or a pair of Sludge Bombs. Oh, and my opponent actively swaps back into Kingdra. I throw the Frenzy, which hits for neutral and doesn't quite do enough, and I'm going to need to throw my next one as soon as I can because if I get hit with an Octazooka and it lowers my attack, or if I get hit with an Outrage, either of those results will totally end me. My opponent gets the attack drop, so I'm going to undercharge this Frenzy Plant a little bit, and it wasn't enough. I really needed to farm up a little bit of energy there. My opponent is able to reach his move with his Machamp. It's the Cross Chop. I barely survive it, and I am able to get this Frenzy Plant out. Yeah, really close game. My opponent played that really well. I just was able to come out clutch with Venusaur. Okay, next up against House Stark. leading Umbreon. So Umbreon is really thick. So thick that the close combat doesn't KO. It only does about like 60 or 70% damage. So a lot of times they will no shield. Oh my god, that does so little damage considering it's freaking super effective. With stab, it's close combat. And Gallade's not like a tank, you know, it hits kind of hard. Crazy to me, but all right. And I switch into Venusaur to tank one of those foul plays. Obviously not going to shield that. And yeah, he switches into Gengar, which is great for me. At this point, I can let my Venusaur go down. If they bait with Shadow Claw or with Shadow Punch, I'll totally survive. I'm able to get another Frenzy Plant out, which is great. Most likely going to get a shield here so that they can win switch advantage. And I get farm the rest of the way down. But that's totally fine because Snorlax is kind of a wall. And since they threw instantly, I know that this is definitely a Shadow Punch. Snorlax absorbs that very easily and licks the rest of the way down, and I have a little bit of energy to start off with. And he sends Venusaur out. So this alignment is fine. If I switch into Gallade after this, then the confusions will chunk. Just going to throw this Body Slam. And yeah, after that, one more Body Slam plus the accompanying licks will be enough to take Venusaur out. And I will get to my Body Slam just before he reaches the Frenzy Plant because, yeah, I had that energy advantage from farming down Gengar. And you get to Body Slams just a little bit faster than a Venusaur reaches Frenzy anyway. So, going to shield that and then switch into Gallade. Umbreon comes back out with loaded energy. That's fine. These foul plays hit for neutral. I survive that one, and I just throw the close combat as soon as I have it. It's going to lower my defense, but I am not in Vine Whip farm down range. And these confusions are hitting so hard. My opponent is going to need to throw this Frenzy as soon as he's got it. And now he's super low, so Shadowlax just comes back out, gives Venusaur a nice lick, and yeah, take that game. GG to my opponent. Oh, update on House Stark's team. He is now also opening Gallade. Saw him again today, and he was opening Gallade and had a Venusaur in the back. But not Shadowlax back there, which, you know, makes sense. Like I said before, there's a lot of Shadow Machamps, so there's an argument to be made for running something other than Venusaur. Or something other than Snorlax. I just like its generalist coverage because it has good matchups against the fire, water, and grass types that you will encounter plenty of. So I like it for that versatility. Okay. So Obstagoon in the lead is kind of rough. If I throw the close combat too early, I mean, for one, it will completely one-shot, but if they shield the close combats and take me out, or if a Leaf Blade goes through and goes unshielded, Obstagoon will win the matchup really well. Like, you have to bait exactly correctly and throw the close combat at the right time. But yeah, my opponent... All right, so I forget who switched out because I was talking about the lead, but I ended up here, and I'm just going to lick this Charizard down, and now I have energy left over. Okay. I'm sorry. That was terrible. So Obstagoon comes back out, and I'm going to no-shield this. Even if it's a cross-chop, I'll survive that. And now I'm just going to double throw the superpower. Oh, I'm not. I'm going to bait with Body Slam first so that my superpower will hit hardest, if it hits. Luckily for me, my opponent no shields and the superpower one-shots, and now there's a Venusaur out in the back, so that's fine with me. I send out Gallade to do some confusion damage, and then swap into Venusaur, trying to catch the Frenzy Plant, but that didn't happen, but that's fine. I'm going to no-shield these because, oh my gosh, I'm not. Okay, I guess I'm not going to no-shield these. My Venusaur is a rank 11 or something. It's one of the thicker Venusaurs, so I can survive 2 Sludge Bombs with it. My opponent has taken a Confusion and some licks worth of damage, so they're definitely not going to double survive Sludge Bombs. And now, as long as I can get this next Sludge Bomb out, I should be able to Confusion down if they throw too early. Yeah, so my opponent threw when I was still like 3 or 4 away, and they really should have thrown a little bit more. That did take me out. That's just a visual glitch. I swapped in my Gallade and threw this Leaf Blade, even though I had a close combat loaded. I just forgot. Totally forgot that I had a close combat already loaded, but that's all right. Win that game, and yeah. So my next matchup against Sightcliff, opening Shadow Dragonite. This looks really bad, but it's actually not that bad. I just need to shield the first Dragon Claw, and I'll be able to get 2 Leaf Blades out. Unless I had some lag and they were able to get some extra Dragon Breaths in, then they will reach their second Dragon Claw before I reach my my Leaf Blade. But yeah, get that first shield, and now I'm just going to throw this next Leaf Blade, and if it goes unshielded, I'll actually be able to take them out with a Confusion. Oh, no, didn't quite make it. Okay. That Dragonite has very good IVs. Just letting you know. But that's all right. I'm going to send Snorlax out. I'm going to absorb this Dragon Claw, no problem, and lick the rest of the way down. So I'm not in a great position, but considering that it's a flyer up against fighting that resists my Leaf Blade and my close combat, I'd say that matchup goes pretty well, all things considered. So the Galvantula comes out, and I can survive this lunge. So I'm gonna switch out right away because I don't want to throw the resisted Body Slam. And yeah, luckily for me, my opponent has a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So just gonna Frenzy Plant that, and even though this is a maxed Hundo XL Stunfisk, it's still not going to be able to survive two Frenzy Plants, and I would outpace them if they were going straight Earthquake, so I shield the first move anyway, and it is the Earthquake. Then my opponent throws a Rock Slide, so I'm just going to charge up extra energy, charge up to 2 Frenzy Plants, throw this first Frenzy, which will take out the Stunfisk, and now I can just get to the Sludge Bomb, no problem, to not quite take out the Galvantula. I'm going to need to throw another move, but that's all right. I force them to have to throw their energy to avoid getting farmed, and I'm able to survive the lunge, so I just switch out into Snorlax, who is not debuffed anymore, and lick the rest of the way down. Take that game. GG to my opponent. That's a really expensive Galarian Stunfisk. I'm very impressed. A lot of very expensive Pokemon that I'm taking out with my very non-expensive team here. So this time against Shadowlax, I opt to safe swap my Venusaur instead of swapping in my Snorlax, and they stay in. So that makes me a little bit glad that that I swapped in Venusaur, but also not, because that probably means they didn't have a good answer for Venusaur in the back, so keeping Venusaur would have also been totally fine. Not able to reach that second Frenzy, so I imagine I'm just going to send Gallade out and try to Confusion. Oh, no, apparently not. Apparently I'm going to send out Snorlax instead. So, gonna no shield here, I imagine. Yeah, because every time I shield, it ends up being the Octazooka, and every time I do that, it also debuffs me. So I'm going really low, trying to lick the rest of the way down, and I'm forced to shield this Octazooka, which debuffs me. And yeah, then I throw the Body Slam right away and switch into my Gallade to Confusion the rest of the way down. Honestly, I really didn't need to throw the Body Slam. I threw because I was just too slow to the swap in, and one more counter would have KO'd my Snorlax as it was. So yeah, this is looking not great. Able to get to this next Leaf Blade. Managed to eat up this last shield, land one more Confusion, and now I'm just spamming out Body Slam. I'm like only a lick away from dying as it is. Body Slam lands, barely takes out that Snorlax, and my lick goes through before their Dragon Breath, and yeah, my Shadowlax takes out that Kingdra too. So I just barely won that game. GG to my opponent. That was really close. All right, Gallade into Probopass. This is not something that I have seen since then, and it's not something I ever saw before that. But that is a maxed Hundo, well, level 50 Probopass right there. It's not something that I was preparing for, but I mean, just looking at it, my entire team has play against it. Definitely a very, very off-meta pick. All right, so yeah, Venusaur aligned against Kingdra. Land the Frenzy Plant and was able to take them out before they got to their next charge move, which is fantastic for me. But now a Venusaur comes out and, I mean, they can farm me down pretty far. I throw this Sludge Bomb before I get, like, before they were able to reach their first Frenzy, and I was anticipating them throwing before I reach my next Sludge Bomb, but yeah, I'm able to throw this Sludge Bomb also. It's like they're trying to farm me all the way down, but that's not gonna... And then Probopass comes out and does farm me down. I was really close to reaching a Frenzy, which is why I stayed. But, okay, so now they have a Venusaur with, like, 100 energy. Definitely back-to-back Frenzies ready, so I throw this close combat before I'm forced to, like, use up a shield. They no-shielded it, take out Probopass, and now Venusaur comes out with 100 energy, but I have 2 shields, so it's not going to be enough. GG. That's wild, Probopass. That is some mustache on that thing. Alright, Gallade into non-Shadow Dragonite. Honestly, I prefer against the Shadow because my Confusions do more damage. Against regular Dragonite, I was trying to maybe sneak in an extra Confusion, but my opponent's Fast Move Denial is very good, and he didn't lose any of his Dragon Breaths along the way. Like, he threw right up until the very end of my Fast Move animation. So get that shield, and now I'm going to throw this Leaf Blade, which isn't going to be enough to take them out, but it will get them low enough where I have the option. So I could shield here and win switch advantage, but I opt to instead save my shield, let myself get taken down, and I can come out with Snorlax and lick the rest of the way down. So now at least I have some energy to compensate for not having switch advantage, and Empoleon comes out. So, I mean, whatever's in the back is really not great against Snorlax. But I throw the superpower right away, and yeah, it's a Gengar in the back. So reach this first Frenzy. I'm just going to throw that right away. And now they're in a position where I'm definitely not going to use my shield. So if they Shadow Ball me, it'll take me out, but a Sludge Bomb is not quite enough. And I'm able to reach this Frenzy Plant, and I maybe should have just... at least let myself take one more Shadow Claw of damage so that I wouldn't get farmed down as much. Because now Empoleon comes out and gets 3 extra waterfalls. 9, 10. So they're at back-to-back Hydro Cannons right now. Shadow Snorlax would actually survive a Hydro Cannon from this range, but I shielded anyway, just in case I was going to get Hydro Pumped. You never know. These things happen. You're going to have to shield one move. Might as well be the first one. Yeah, and Superpower and take that game. Superpower does like 65-ish% from a Shadow Snorlax to an Empoleon. So I was safe there. I get a Rufflet for my troubles, which is fine, I guess. Not sure if anyone has ever run whatever the evolved form of that is. I don't know that I even have one for my decks, but yeah. Went 5 of 5 and got up to 26-46. And that's the last game. So that's my team. I'm really, really pleased with the way it's been performing. I think Gallade is a super strong lead in the current meta. And I think Venusaur is really, really strong in the back in the current meta because there's been a lot of waters. If there was anything I was going to change, if I started seeing even more Shadow Machamps, maybe you could like switch in a Talonflame or something for Snorlax. That way everything on your team would resist counter. Definitely also a viable variation. I might try playing that in the coming days if Shadow Machamp becomes even more popular, as I think it probably will be. But try my team out. Let me know how it goes in the comments down below. And if you want to keep up with what I'm doing with a little more immediacy, because it seems to take me a day or two to get games out on YouTube, you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ferrickster. Yeah. Also, don't forget to do the things that you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You're supposed to push the buttons. Please push the buttons, do the things. I'll catch you on the next one.